Peaceful arrival. Mm-hmm. I want to be able to see this without noticing I'm looking at this. Oh, I don't care about that one down there. Just this one up here. Okay. Perfect. Welcome to the Tesseract tribe, where we remember the parts of ourselves that time tried to fold away. I'm Tiana Taylor, muse, healer, mirror. Today we're unfolding your fourth dimension, the you beyond the you. So, the Tesseract tribe, its intention is to be a space for conscious beings to explore the edges of their reality, their folds of their spirit, and the infinite potential that lives within their multidimensional design. The expansion era begins with the mind because the awakening of perception is the first ripple that expands our worlds. What is a tesseract spiritually? In sacred geometry, a tesseract is a four-dimensional cube, a shape that exists beyond linear space. Spiritually, the tesseract represents infinite expansion beyond time, space, and identity, the soul in motion, unfolding through layers of memory and experience. Think of it as an energetic architecture of your being, every corner, every fold, another timeline of you. The tesseract is not just a shape, it's a reminder that you are not one version of yourself. You are every version, coexisting and vibrating across realities. When you awaken to your tesseract nature, you start to remember your multidimensional truth. The healer, the artist, the ancestor, the child, all living in your energetic geometry. Every time you heal, every time you forgive, every time you expand, you're not changing, you're unfolding. I had a joke, but I'll save it for later. So now getting to talk about living in the second dimension when you are born fourth dimensional. Many of us are living as flat versions of our full selves, a 2D projection of a 4D being. Trauma, expectation, and performance flattens us. We compress our spirit into something digestible for others. We call it functioning, but in reality, it's self compression. You might notice the flattening when you feel disconnected from your creativity, disconnected from your joy, sensuality, or your purpose. When life feels scripted and not lived. Your fourth dimensional self is always whispering, there's more. But we silence that voice to survive. The journey back to your tesseract self begins when you stop performing and start observing. The art of becoming the observer. Becoming the observer is a spiritual art, the ability to detach from reaction and watch your human self from a higher plane. This is the practice of witnessing consciousness, where judgment dissolves and awareness expands. From this space, you begin to see your patterns, your triggers, your timelines without collapsing into them. The observer doesn't deny emotion. She knows she is not the emotion. Watching yourself from the Tesseract perspective allows healing without chaos, evolution without ego. It's how you meet the version of yourself that's already ascended beyond the lesson you're currently learning. Little mantra, I can feel deeply and still see clearly. Let that sit, let that resonate. I can feel deeply and still see clearly. That one hits really well. That'd be a beautiful tapping. So let's take a minute and let's do some EFT tapping. Starting at the top of your head. I can feel deeply and still see clearly. I can feel deeply and still see clearly. Tapping at your eyebrow. I can feel deeply and still see clearly. At your temple. I can feel deeply and still see clearly. under your eyes. I can feel deeply and still see clearly. Above your lip, I can feel deeply and still see clearly. Under your chin, I can feel deeply and still see clearly. Collarbone, I can feel deeply and still see clearly. Sides of your ribs, I can feel deeply and still see clearly. Sides of your hands, I can feel deeply and still see clearly. Another hand, I can feel deeply and still see clearly. A little gem Lucian taught me years ago when we both first got introduced to EFT tapping. He was like, you tap until the door opens. And I was like, so for me, my door opening is a little like chill that goes down my spine for like spirit is like, here I am, girl. And that's how I know it's time to move on to the next one. So when you practice tapping, wherever you do to embed into your being, so you embody it, how you do, I love tapping for that. Now, signs that you're awakening to your multidimensionality. Awakening often begins with subtle energetic shifts. The symptoms of expansion include intense deja vu or dream recall, memory leaks from other timelines, sudden detachment from old identity or relationships, moments of energetic surge or exhaustion as your system recalibrates, increased synchronicities, angel numbers, or downloads coming through. It's not chaos, it's calibration. As you awaken, you start to remember your other lives, your parallel roles, and your ancestral imprints. It can feel disorienting, but remember, your energy is stretching to fit back into its full shape. You are remembering, literally bringing your members, your parts back into wholeness. The power of naming your other selves. Naming your other selves creates integration. It gives voice to archetypes that live within you. The mother who nurtures, the muse who creates, the mogul who builds, the mystic who remembers. Each holds sacred wisdom. When one is ignored, imbalance occurs. Bringing them into conversation allows you to live from wholeness, to lead from both the seen and unseen parts of yourself. Journal, dialogue, or meditate with them. Ask, what does this version of me need right now? When your inner selves feel seen, your outer world becomes aligned. Harmony isn't sameness, it's the symphony of all of yourselves playing in tune. I don't know about you, but my symphony that's playing is actually the orchestral instrumental to no flocking. Listen to that, please. I might even play it in the background of this video because it is a classic. It needs to be celebrated. Now we have our portal prompt. This is the space and the time where I encourage you to pull out your journal or speak it out loud. I'm here to remind you that answers don't always come instantly. Sometimes the universe whispers them through patterns, people, pauses throughout your day. Literally today, I was like, do I need to get up and do something? And I literally saw the truck with my stepfather's last name on it. And I'm like, let me get to a little more hustle before I clock out. And it's important for that, really listening, acknowledging, realizing that you have all of these messages and delivery ways to you. So, again, your portal prompt. Where am I shrinking myself to fit inside a version of me I've outgrown? Where am I shrinking myself to fit inside a version of me that I've outgrown? Personally, I'm going to take this moment with my portal prompt, my reflective pause, and I'm going to share with you. I'm going to be honest. I've reviewed this, But this portal prompt is surely eating for the first time, so you can really get to know me. Once I got to use ChatGPT and she started doing that work, baby, I let her help me. So this portal prompt is divinely timed. It's 11:11. I want to timestamp that for myself and ask myself one time, where am I shrinking myself to fit inside a version of me I've outgrown? Where am I shrinking myself? I feel like I want to continue to embody this energy of breaking free, realizing that when this big body bends, there is no shrinking that can happen. And honestly, in my physical body, where the shrinking truly occurred to the point of detriment of my posture, baby, I am seeing muscles literally in the curve of where my shoulders, the heaviness of all that I am. I'm not letting that, I'm shining forward, baby. These titties is hanging in regards to what it is and the energy that I bring. And that's important because I'm seeing it. And not always do you get the blessing of witnessing where, but your body tells a lot and it tells on you a lot. So please note somebody who is energetically in tune or trained is well aware of the fact that somewhere in you is showing literally where you've decided that you still fit in that box when in that version of yourself when you really don't. You look so uncomfortable there. I remember being uncomfortable there. Those are the moments where I tried to lay down. Now it's big heart energy. I'm doing my best and not be sitting here with my legs open and surely don't when it comes to having skirt time. But otherwise, baby, I'm taking up the space. I've lived way too long and honestly had a celebratory conversation today about how it wasn't until this big old age and not definitely not today years old, but to be acknowledged on embracing what it was that I disliked the most about myself being younger was being tall. And really it was probably because I was never put in modeling classes. I was put in modeling classes. I probably never would have complained as a child of being tall. But to see that, to embody that, to take up space and to look at photos and reflections and to see like you so regally take up your space so unapologetically, so authentically, and it is so important to do so, to be celebrated, to be honored, to be witnessed enough. Like, you see me loving everything that I am. I love to see everyone loving everything that they are, and it's so important that you do. So again, I just want to really share in fullness and with Reiki energy, which is healing. So if you're tapping in, you're also tapping into a portal of energy healing. And this is important. Where am I shrinking myself to fit inside a version of me I've outgrown? This question is essentially asking, I've been asking myself this for a minute, what's stopping you from being great today? Most of the time, when we sit down and think, what's stopping us from being great? It's usually ourselves. Somehow we thought it was this beautiful experience being in this little old box because we know, but our spirits are big and we're worthy to radiate. We're worthy to touch those that we get. And that's okay. It's okay to be big, baby. Always be big. Always be big, except the back. And baby, if the back is big, let's get to the gym. Let's get to motion. Let's do it together. But it's always got to be big. Okay. This is the moment I want to provide you with a reminder that you are an expression of infinitely divine design. You are here, now, and everywhere your energy remembers to return to love. Saying this now for you, I am an infinite expression of divine design. I am here, now, and everywhere my energy remembers to return to love. I am an infinite expression of divine design. I am here now and everywhere my energy remembers to return to flow. I got the first recording. Hopefully it didn't sound too scripty. We'll get a little better with that. But in the meantime, Tesseract Tribe is about half-hour-ish podcast time that will be weekly, and I'll just be providing tools and the real insight and the behind the scenes and the sprinkles of gems that my experience in this self-discovery journey and being an example and a witness for you to tune in, for you to join, maybe for you to explore yourself if you feel called. I am surely going live on all the platforms. This is a great time to be alive, and I'm just loving the opportunity to be able to connect.